Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So sorry again about the camera angle. It might be a little bit low, but I have nothing to lean on, so that's why it's like that. So today I thought I would talk about job hunting as a blind person in the OTA field. So I'm blind, totally blind, and if you're new to my channel, thank you for subscribing and watching this video. I graduated last year, 2020, so it's 2021 now. Literally almost 11 months ago, because it's November now, so I graduated in December. So ever since then, I got my certification from the National Board in May. That was a whole process. A lot of interesting debates went on about that, but I got my certification in May, and then I got my license for my state in September. So from May until now, I've been applying for different jobs across the country, Texas, different states around where I live, New Mexico, like all these different places. I even applied for one in Washington State, which is about 14 hours or more from where I live. So I thought I would talk about finding a job as a disabled person, how that works, and all that. So getting into the job experience, I started looking at different websites like gettinghired.com, Indeed's a big one, Disabled Person, which is a really awesome website. They help you build a resume and everything. Just a bunch of different excuse me, sorry, my dog is, hey, sit down, come on, sit down, sit. Sorry, my dog was like all excited. So anyway, I looked at all these websites like Getting Hired, Indeed, Disabled Person, Blind, I think it's called blind.jobs, it might be jobs.blind or something, AFB, NFB, all the blindness organizations, Career Connect, like disabled job, like all the disabled job sites and regular job sites. I did Monster, I did like all the sites, and hey, sorry, my dog has some allergies going on, so she's been digging at herself, so I have to stop her. Anyway, that's why I'm leaning away from the camera, so, anyway, so yeah, so I looked at these websites, and some of them were accessible, some of them were not. So, for example, Getting Hired, I really struggled with, USA Jobs, I struggled with. It just, like, they mean to be accessible, but they're not, and really drives me nuts, but it is what it is. So I got on Indeed, that's my big thing. So I get on Indeed, I sign up, I get a resume. Well, I mean, I built my resume on Disabled Person first, so I started building it there, because they have a template and everything that kind of gave me some ideas. So I built my resume on Disabled Person, posted it on Indeed, and then what you do is you go in and select different job locations and what type of job you want. So for me, I was occupational therapy assistant, so I typed in OTA, COTA, or occupational therapy assistant, and I would type in each of those things in each of the three different job titles in all the states that I wanted to look. So I would type Indiana, New Mexico, Ohio, Illinois, all these different states, and then you set up a job alert so it emails you every time there's a job. So it's not uncommon for me to get about 300 to 400 job alerts in a day, and it comes in congested form, so you get about maybe like 30 or 40 emails, and they have like each state. So one of them might have 30 job leads in a state, one of them might have like 2. That depends on what job you're looking for. If you're a truck driver, sorry, you're gonna have like a lot of jobs out there, so you're probably gonna get like 30 in each email. That's a lot. So when I started out, I knew what kind of I wanted to do. I did not want to do nursing homes. I did not want to do in-home therapy. So I started to get the hang of which companies in which part of the country did nursing home and home health. So I looked at all those companies, and now I've gotten to the point where I don't even have to click on the job, because basically it sends you a link. So it'll say occupational therapy assistant, and then below that it'll say the company and Oregon or whatever. So if you want to look at that job, you click on occupational therapy assistant on the link, and it tells you. So, I've gotten to the point where I don't even have to do that now. I just scroll through the email, read the names of the companies, and I'm like, nope, that's home health, nope, that's nursing home. And if there's one I haven't heard of, then I'm like, oh, that looks cool, let's see what it is. So that's how I go about my job search. I use a screen reader called JAWS and Narrator for Windows and VoiceOver on my phone. They're all things that read the screen. As a blind person, I need that. I can't read print. And I don't have internet at my house, so I use my phone data for that. So that's how I do my job search. So then it comes to applying. That's difficult too because like I find a job I want, and Indeed's really good. So basically, Indeed, you just click on the job, you click on apply. You can either create your resume or you can just upload your resume that you already have, and then after that, you answer some questions that it has on the application on Indeed, and you click submit. That's through Indeed. That's not through the company. So then there's some that say apply on company site, which is the website of the company that you are applying for. This also goes for the jobs that you are looking at their website and you go, oh, they have a job, let's apply, different companies. So normally I have to create an account, so password, username, etc. So I have an email address, type in the password, type in username, create an account. It's normally pretty simple. Sometimes it is challenging because sometimes the websites are not accessible. But I'll get to that in a second. So I apply. So normally it's the same concept, upload a resume, answer some questions. They give you a typing box, you can type in answers, make a cover letter, etc. And a lot of it kind of frustrates me because the application will ask, what kind of certifications do you have? And I'm like, it's on my resume, So they're getting basically 2 copies of the exact same thing, the application and the resume. So I upload my application just like everybody else using my screen readers, and they email me and say, your application has been submitted. Congratulations, we will contact you if you're selected for the interview. The normal everyday stuff, right? So now I'm going to get into what happens if you have a disability and the website's not accessible. So like I said, I'm totally blind. I use JAWS on my computer, and a lot of times the application will not be accessible. The website will be either terribly formatted or the application itself is through a third party. A lot of times schools use something called Frontline Education Systems, which is basically a giant application portal. So you apply to different schools, but you apply through Frontline Education. So I've had trouble with Frontline Education a lot. Their website's not very accessible. Applications are definitely a struggle for me with them. And so normally what I do is I contact, and it takes a while sometimes. Sometimes I have to really dig to find who to contact. But I contact the company and I say, look, I am Gretchen Brown. I'm applying for this job as blah 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 at whatever company, and I have a disability, so I'm not able to access your website or access your application. Could you assist me in this? And then I give kind of some suggestions of how they could help me, like, do it over the phone, or we could do it, on Zoom, or, you could send it to me in a Word document typed up, or a PDF or something, and I could email it back to you. But, I can't fill out answers in the traditional form that you would prefer me to. And normally, after that, I get an email saying, okay, cool, here's the application, or just send us your resume, we'll fill it out for you. Excuse me, that sort of thing. And I don't mind doing that because it's not going directly to the hiring manager. Normally this is someone in the human resources department, so they don't even, the hiring manager has no idea that I'm blind. They have no idea that I submitted my application in a different format, because if they did know, then that could possibly prejudice them. They might assume that, oh, she can't even fill out the application, so how's she going to work here, So it doesn't even go through the hiring manager, which I love because they never need to know. So, we get that, and even the applications that are accessible, sometimes they want a signature at the end, and it's a written signature. You take your mouse or your cursor and you write your name, and I can't do that because I'm blind, and the screen readers don't read signatures because it's not computer, it's lines, that doesn't mean anything. So I normally have to either use my phone to get sighted assistance to help me, or I use, I go somewhere, which normally I go somewhere to get Wi-Fi anyway, so I have to go find a sighted person. I'm like, excuse me, could you write my name? And they're like, why? And I'm like, because I can't see it, so you have to write my name. And I don't mind doing this. I normally always have someone, anytime I sign something in print that I cannot read, I have them sign their initials after my name. That way it shows that I gave them permission to write my name, and if there's any problems, I can say, well, talk to, BM or CT or whoever these people are, because they signed my name, that way, like a lot of times if you go to a bank, they want your signature, and if someone looks like it's different, they might think it's forgery, and I'm like, well, I know how to write my name, but sometimes on those electronic things you can't, or whatever. So it's good to have that other person's initials there so you know who it is, or they know who it is. They know it's not you. So anyway, so you get your application submitted, everything's fine. Then comes the interview process. And I've had some good and bad interviews. I've only had like 10 in the last 11 months, but I'm getting a lot more this week. I've had like 5, and I was like, whoa, what happened? But interview is stressful and good, so you have to figure out how you're going to approach your disability as a disabled person. Are you going to be like upfront, like, yeah, I have this disability? Are you going to hide it and just not say anything? Because you don't have to disclose. You legally don't have to. The only reason why you have to disclose is if you need something special, accommodations. Like for me, I obviously have to, because 1, it's very obvious, and 2, I need accommodations, so I can't expect them to know what I need unless I tell them. So I'm totally blind. I don't use print, and I have a guide dog, so I don't walk like everybody else. I also have a cane. So when I have an interview, which all might have been in virtual because COVID, so my big thing is the camera, because people are very excited. They like to look at the camera. Right now you are looking at the camera and you're saying, man, she's out of frame. Yeah, I'm out of frame, and I'm blind, I get that, so I don't understand how cameras work as a blind person, because I'm born blind. I don't know really what vision is. I know concept-wise, but I don't know cognitively like what it is, how it works, and what you see. So cameras don't mean anything to me. They're just like, I just imagine this like giant laser shooting out of the camera, and it just makes this stream of light, and so I don't get the whole, the camera can see 20 feet away. That means nothing to me, So going on Zoom, having these virtual interviews with people, it's really hard because they were like, turn on your camera, and I'm like, okay, so I turn it on, and they're like, you're out of frame, and I'm like, yeah, surprise, I'm blind, so that's why. So anyway, so for me, I very quickly get out of the way. I'm just like, yep, I'm blind. I use this accommodation, depending on the circumstances. I don't make a big deal about it, but I do make it, I'm blind. That's part of who I am. So I make sure to point that out, that I can still do the job successfully. It just, I do have a disability. So yeah. So anyway, so we get to the interview, and like I said, you just approach it how you feel. And I'm gonna pause for a second. I think my dog has to go to the bathroom.